people off of various networks that have said that YouTube is unsubscribing them from the channel when they did not decide to unsubscribe themselves. Actually, right even before I went on the air, a whole block of like 10 people unsubscribed all at once. I'm sure it was just a coincidence, YouTube. I'm sure it was just a coincidence that like I watched my number drop by 10 in an instant. Like I'm sure there were just randomly 10 people that just decided to hit unsubscribe at the same time. So if you're not subscribed, I hope I can win your subscription today. If you think you're subscribed, just double check and make sure you turn on those notifications as well. But also one of the things you can do, besides, of course, mounting that like button, is to join me in Locals, where you will always be able to find me, regardless of if YouTube gives me another strike this week. I really hope they don't. But if they do, you can always find me in Locals. Locals is actually free to join. You can sign up for free at kv.locals.com. All the information is down in that description box somewhere. Or you can support the work I'm doing by becoming a monthly or even annual member to the Locals platform. It's $5 a month and $50 annually, which gives you 2 months for free. And I really, guys, I'm trying to get more people in my Locals. I'm going to do a whole little membership drive coming up here because I really want to get as many people in there as possible. Locals is awesome. We do a lot of things together as a community to kind of help manage this dystopian reality that we're living in. We've got debate club coming up next week. We've got a book club coming up. We're reading The Fountainhead. We do 2 Zoom calls a week as a community. We have a community Discord just for supporters. It's an extra supporters perk where we're going to be scheming all sorts of pranks and ways that we can push back against the woke. So I hope you'll become a member of my Locals. Again, kb.locals.com. All the information is right down below. All right. Let's dig into it and see what we have this week. This week, we're starting off with January 6th. Because, you know, a lot of, like most of you know, I think that I was there on January 6th, and I had the pleasure of being interviewed by the FBI for sending 2 sarcastic tweets from the Capitol lawn on January 6th. And now, to the shock of no one who was actually there, we find out that the FBI has no evidence that this was a strategic coordinated attack, which is what I said when I did my live stream live from DC on the evening of January 6th. That this was like the whole idea that this was a coordinated insurrection has been ridiculous from day one. But let's just take a look. This is from Reuters. Exclusive: FBI finds scant evidence U.S. Capitol attack was coordinated from sources. Imagine my shock that it was exactly like I said it was when I was actually there streaming on January 6th. The FBI has found scant evidence that the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol was the result of an organized plot to overturn the presidential election, according to 4 current and former law enforcement officials. And to anyone who had a brain that was there that day, that saw that epic shit show in person, no one knew what was going on. Though federal officials have arrested more than 570 alleged participants, including that guy from InfoWars, and he wasn't even doing anything more than standing on the Capitol steps. I so hope he fights this to the very end, because he was doing nothing wrong. The FBI at this point believes the violence was not centrally coordinated by far-right groups or prominent supporters of then-President Donald Trump, according to sources who have been either directly involved or briefed regularly on the wide-ranging investigations. You know, when I was interviewed by the FBI, first of all, the only question they asked me was, did you go in the Capitol on January 6th? And of course, the answer was no, even though all the little trolls on the internet were like working overtime to try to find evidence that I was in the Capitol. I did not go in the Capitol. So that was pretty much the easiest interview ever. But we got into a little conversation after they asked me that question. And the FBI basically said, they were like, they're having us investigate all this stupid nonsense. Like, so it really is ridiculous. How many millions of dollars of our taxpayer money has the FBI spent investigating something that we all knew what happened from the very beginning? 90 to 95% of those are one-off cases, said former senior law enforcement official with knowledge of the investigation. You know, you have 5% maybe of those militia groups that were more closely organized, but there was no grand scheme with Roger Stone and Alex Jones and all of those people to storm the Capitol and take hostages. Of course, we knew that from the beginning. There was video of Alex Jones from the beginning. Now, I'm not like a big fan of Alex Jones, but like there was video of him from the beginning trying to lead people away from the Capitol to where the actual permitted rally was planned. That came out from the very beginning. This is not news to anyone. Roger Stone wasn't even there. Stone, a veteran Republican operative and self-described dirty trickster, and Jones, founder of the conspiracy-driven radio show and webcast, are both allies of Trump and had been involved in pro-Trump events in Washington on January 5th, the day before the riot. Well, that's true enough, but then Roger Stone wasn't even there on January 6th. And again, I'm not like I don't really care two ways about either of them, but this whole thing was so stupid. FBI investigators did find the cell of protesters, including followers of far-right Oath Keepers and Proud Boy groups, had aimed to break into the Capitol, but they found no evidence that these groups had serious plans about what to do if they made it inside. Again, shocking to no one. This is government competence right here. But even when our government is repeatedly showing how effing incompetent they are, more Americans apparently think that the government should be able to control what information we have access to. What could possibly go wrong with this plan? This is from Pew Research. More Americans now say the government should take steps to restrict false information online than in 2018. Amid rising concerns over misinformation online, including surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, especially vaccines, Americans are now a bit more open to the idea of the US government taking steps to restrict false information online. That is exactly the wrong answer. That anyone who is in favor of the government controlling what information you can have access to, you are part of the problem. Like, does this seem like a good idea to anyone in the chat? Does anyone in the chat want the government to be able to control what information we have access to? This is absurd. Roughly half of U.S. adults, 48%, now say the government should take steps to restrict false information, even if it means losing some freedom to access public content. According to the survey of 11,178 adults conducted in July through August, this is up from 39% in 2018. At the same time, the share of adults who say they favor freedom of information should be protected, even if it means some information is published online, some misinformation is published online, has decreased from 58% to 50%. You know, if you haven't read Fahrenheit 451 recently, or I mean, I guess you could watch one of several movies that have been made, but the movies kind of suck. But the interesting thing about Fahrenheit 451 is the populace restricted their access to books themselves. They were the ones who put the restrictions in place because it made them feel safe. It wasn't some sort of tyrannical government. It was the populace doing it to itself. This is playing out in front of us right now. And yeah, Adrian in the chat says, congrats to the education system for fucking things up. Exactly. That is exactly where this is coming from.